Hey everyone, Sycra here.
Hey everybody, welcome to the SycraStream show. Get
Hey.
started.
Was that a real intro, or are you making fun of him?
No,
No,
unfortunately, that's recorded.
Oh God.
that's
Yeah,
official.
we didn't plan properly, and now
Welcome to the
that's happening.
SycraStream.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Welcome. If you're confused about what's on the screen right now, I'll explain it. But first, I want to introduce my guests for today. We have Flavia.
Hello.
We have Jetty Jet,
Hey everyone.
and we have Bob Meatbag.
Hey.
I think that's everyone.
That's all of us.
Are we missing anything?
Oh,
I think there's one more person.
I think you're pulling a goof on me.
Oh, and we
You're
have
pulling a goof
cynics.
on me.
We have cynics. And
Hey, that's me. I'm the fun one. Woo! Wacky, wacky.
all right. So what are we looking at here, cynics?
This is Anime Expo. This is the show floor for Anime Expo 2016.
Oh shoot, you're going to Anime Expo?
Oh shit! You know who else is going to Anime Expo?
Who else?
Jetty Jet from the Jetty Jet show.
Oh shoot, I'm going to Anime Expo.
And you better get ready.
That's
You know
awesome.
who else is going?
We're going to be going with Ross Train of the Ross Train show. So, if you want to come see Ross, it's actually Tran. Ross Draws, Ross Tran, and Jetty Jet, and myself, we're going to be at the booth that's awkwardly and misnamed Ross Train. So, all aboard the Ross Train. Choo choo.
Oh, the Ross train. I
That's booth number 410.
wonder if Ross knows that.
I doubt it.
That's a Frost.
Yes, Becky. We're called what? Ross train.
No, it says
Or
on the map. Frost train too.
Yes.
We're conveniently located across from the Inti Creates. They make horrible games. Tickle Me Toys for all your pleasure needs, along with Pleasure Hobby and Hime Romance. And Mystery Parfait, I'll assume that is also a pornography booth.
Oh no.
Oh, no, we're next to League of Legends. So there you go. All of you League of Legends nerds, you can wander on over. You stumble down the aisle down here and visit the Ross train. Hop on board.
Don't forget about the Lolita Collective.
Most importantly.
And what are you drawing, Jet?
I'm currently working on Tracer for the Anime Expo, and I'm stressing balls today. All week. Because stressing balls. Because I only have 3 pieces ready for Anime Expo, and I have 4 days left to get it as much done as I can.
Speaking of stress and balls, hop on by the Lolita Collective or Tickle Me Toys for all your ball stressing needs. Okay, go on.
But yes, I'm just so focused right now because, again, it's just like, it's constantly every day. I got 2 pieces done. But thanks to Bob and friends, I'm feeling a lot better. And Sycra's stream, I'm here now. I'll try to inject some energy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Inject energy to a stream full of zombies.
Speaking of zombies, what have you been up to, Bob?
Oh, being an invalid.
Oh,
What a segue.
Want
braces
to
on
tell
both
us
my
about your
arms.
invalidations?
Well, I got braces on both my arms. I have my arm in a makeshift. What do you call it? A tourniquet? Like
Oh,
that
I
thing
hope
that
not.
you for I'm not sure. It's like I have my arm in a makeshift sling.
There it
So it
is.
looks like it's in a sling for like people with broken arms or something.
God.
Yeah, that's me. And I just found out that, well, not I haven't found out, but like for a little while, apparently what's happening to my arms is also happening to my legs. So yay.
What?
God.
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
now.
my status as an invalid is going up. It's going over the roof.
Oh, and this is
Soon I'll
because
be
you're
in a
playing video
wheelchair.
games? How did this happen?
Oh, you mean my arms or my legs?
Yes.
Well,
Well,
with my
both.
arms, with my arms, they got destroyed by playing too much Darkest Dungeon. So
There you go.
that's my great shame that I'm sure a lot of people know now. With my legs, I don't know what caused it. Maybe it's just the fact that I've been sitting too much.
Oh God.
Yeah, it gets-
Life of Bob Meatbag, everybody.
Well, this is
There
a
you go.
depressing turn.
Kids, get some exercise.
Have you had any more of your calls from your friends over at Dell Technical Support?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have. Um, let's see. They called me. There was this one time they called me and I was sleeping, and then I pretended that I was on the toilet, and they said, "Hello, sir. This is Dell Technical Support." And I said, "Oh, hello. Is this a good time? Are you in front of your computer?" "Oh no, I'm actually on the toilet right now. I'm taking a shit." And then I don't remember what else they said, but they hung up, or I hung up, or whatever. The next time they called, I actually was on the toilet and I was taking a shit. So I thought, oh, this is a great chance to pull off some more trolling. So they the same thing again. "Hello, sir. This is Dell Technical Support. We're here about your computer. Blah 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 blah. Are you in front of the computer right now?" "Oh man, no. You caught me at a bad time. I'm on the toilet right now." Okay, so should I call back? No, man. It's okay. Go ahead. Oh. And then I flush the toilet just so he could hear the sounds of it. And then he starts talking about how there's something wrong with your computer. We can do something about it. Should I call back in 15 minutes? And then I said, "Oh no, just keep talking. Whatever you're comfortable with." And that's basically what I did. Then he hung up, and then he called 15 minutes later, I think. And then this time I was off the toilet, but I didn't let him know that. I said, "Man, I'm still in the toilet. I just wiped my butt, and I'm bleeding, man. I'm bleeding." "Okay, sir, should I call back 30 minutes later?" Yeah. I think that would be good. And then he called back 30 minutes later, and I said, "Oh man, I don't know, man. I think I need to go to the hospital." And then he hung up, and that was that.
Dude.
So what are you drawing, Simix?
I have no idea. I'm paint splurating.
What does that mean, you're paint splurating?
It means I'm just gonna make some random shapes, and then little Bob, who has no arms anymore, he's gonna help me decide what these shapes become.
Oh shit.
That's his job.
Oh shit. That's real exciting.
Sounds good. And do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah.
We do. We got a couple. Tell them.
Yeah. First one was, what brush is Jet using?
I'm using Manga Studio brush.
Yeah.
All the colored. I'm using a brush called Colored Pencil. It's really light, it's nice, got some little grain to it. It's good for rough drafting.
African American.
Yeah. Here's another question. When Sycra demonstrated the simplified anatomy chart, should people examine the whole component of the body or just parts of it and put them all together?
Oh, what am I supposed to do, Bob?
Huh? What? What's the question?
Do I? Okay, so the way I think of it are interlocking pieces, so it doesn't really matter where you start, but yeah. Okay, let me just do a quick walkthrough. So let's say the pose. What? Why is that happening? Huh, weird. This has never happened before. I make a line and then it disappears. That's new. Alright. Thanks, Cintiq. You're doing your job. Reset settings. I don't know why, but I always have to reset my settings every time I want to use my Cintiq now. Hopefully it's not a Photoshop problem. Oh, it is. Yay.
Oh no.
Oh, gosh.
What's another question? Well, Sycra figures it out.
Moving on.
Moving on. What do you all do when you're tired of working on a particular piece?
Work on a different one.
Yeah. No, I have a problem with that. I don't work on different stuff. I try to like power through it, and it just hurts my brain for 3 hours. But eventually, I get through it. Yeah, put it down, go to sleep, or work on something else. Get some fresh eyes, and that's probably the best way to do it.
Good advice.
All right. Let's see if I
Fresh
can
eyes.
share now and have it work. So, let's say this is the pose you're going for. It's some person and they're like sitting. Fine. The first thing I do is I always get the bigger form, like the feeling of it. So I'm not adding any anatomy yet. It's just proportion. So you have like a head, you have the torso, and then you have the arm, and you have the big gesture of them sitting. Like you could just start with like something like that, of just whatever scribbly. I mean, you don't have to be this way. You could be all clean about it, but I'd rather get all the proportions down, and then I break it down into its components, so like the rib cage. And after a while, you don't actually have to break it down. You just sort of see it in your head, and then you get the legs and whatever they're doing, and then it's just like so. That's stage one, and yeah, you could do this stage after a while. You could just do it in your head, and then stage two is when you use a bigger thing. Stage two is when you break it down into those anatomical things if you want to. This comes down at an angle. We have this connecting and pectorals and whatever. So yeah, that's how I do it. It's sort of start with an overall shape and then break it down. But I guess you could also, start with a head and then get the neck and get the body. That's not too hard after a while, but maybe. The problem with this is it often is that you can start this way, but when you're a beginner, you tend to lose, perspective, and sometimes you get these figures that just get bigger or smaller or something, and they're not supposed to. So that's that.
Oh.
Ooh.
Do you see anything, Bob?
I saw some jars. That was pretty interesting. Like, this is a pretty good setup. I'm creating a good setup of just a collection of jars, and I'm quite happy with this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just create jars, some wine bottles, some glass containers for spices and powder. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Olive oil jars. Oh, those are great.
Oh, what are those? I don't even know what that looks like.
Well, you can just search it up.
No, I think I'm okay.
All right. Let's see what kind of jars you create. Jars by Synex, everybody.
We'll turn into
Yeah.
something else
Do
eventually.
you think it's possible to travel while working as a freelance artist?
Yeah, that's like one of the beauties of being a freelancer. I think that's
Absolutely.
The question. Sorry, sir?
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There's a question from Tsubaki-chan. Are you guys going to give critique?
Critique.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a good segue into a thing, but I don't know if we're gonna give critique. Maybe I'll do like a critique or something. But I wanted to talk about a new tier on my Patreon because that's like
Ooh.
Why not? Why not? And so I just made this, and I'm a Patreon. If you want to do this thing, I made a $15 pledge thingy, reward tier, and basically I will do a draw over or paint over your stuff, and then I'll upload it, and then if you want, I can maybe compile them into like a video for other people. But the reason I'm doing it as a critique is I noticed with a lot of the students I'm teaching, it seems like they're not all of them are sure exactly, what needs fixing, and they might come to me with a question like, well, I think I have a problem here, and then I see their work and it's like, no, I think you might have a problem here. So the idea is I would just take your piece and you would be basically borrowing my eyeballs and experience, and then I would let you know what I see. Like, oh, okay, I see, maybe you could work on this, and then, yeah, so.
Nice. That's a deal. That's a deal, you guys. $15.
Yeah. How did all of you decide between a cartoon anime style or a realistic style?
For me, preference. Looking at the styles that I prefer, and then I try to incorporate those. The balance, I guess the balance is the difficult part. How rendered versus how like 2D and flat. That's the difficult part. It's always easy to just over render. Keep going.
I think I don't think I ever decided. I think I try to go back and forth between all of them at all times.
Yeah, they're still deciding for me.
For me, it just sort of happened.
You have lovely eyeballs, Sycra. Can't wait to try them on.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
Thanks.
Okay. What's the best way to start learning how to color my digital drawings?
That's the way to start learning?
How to
Watch.
color a digital drawings.
I guess watch Sycra channels.
I think one of the things that's really helpful is to not really try to watch anything first and just try and figure it out yourself. And what'll happen is, because that's how I did it, and I'm not saying it's the best way, but it seems to be good to just play around and make mistakes and try things. Because what happens is either you figure out stuff or you end up with questions, or you at least become familiar with the program. So maybe you should just try it. Just, I don't know, open up something and try. And
Yeah. I think the concept of coloring is kind of distorted with some people, because there's a lot of different stages in coloring. It requires light and shadow and also form and analysis and values, and then hues itself is a different thing. So coloring is a broad spectrum of different things. So.
Okay. Joshua Lilberg asks and says he would like an answer from cynics as well. Is it worth it to learn anatomy through copying all drawings in a book and reading through it? If so, which book should he use?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's good to copy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know which book though. I never had any books.
Watch,
how'd you
look at
learn?
What's
I
that?
would recommend
Oh.
Andrew Loomis, The Figure for All It's Worth. That's the holy book for me. The holy book!
There's also another book. I don't remember the name exactly. The Atlas of the Human Anatomy or something.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Rogers one.
Yeah, that one's really good. I use that to to help memorize how to draw anatomy. And then afterwards, I started looking at real-world reference. I started looking at other anatomy books just out of curiosity to see how they interpret it. The important thing is to not get bogged down by because what happened with me is that I just started. Every human has different types of bone structures and muscles, so then I got really caught up with trying to find out what's the best one. But what worked for me was that I just sort of stuck to one, and then I just learned one type of body. And then when I memorized that, it was very easy for me to branch out to other types of body structures, bone structures, and that kind of stuff. Overall, you just got to put in the work. So, nothing new there.
But it also depends, because not contradicting what you're saying, but just to the original point about learning from books, because I did that with Bridgman and I did that with Loomis, and for me, I didn't understand anatomy as well until I started learning about insertion points, and that was, I don't know, that was a bit different. So I think it depends for each person. Because you might. I've heard a lot of people who say they just copied an anatomy book and learned from it, and I think that's one way of doing it. But if you're not learning something, you might be more like me, or I don't know, maybe you need to try a different approach.
Yeah. There's another question that ties into this. Can I learn from copying other artists?
Yes,
of course.
Definitely.
You can learn a lot from copying other artists if you do it mindfully. Try to actually figure out why they're doing things.
Yeah. I found that I was doing figure drawing recently, and then not like with real people anymore. I just do it on the online figure drawing website things. But I found that what's helpful, or at least I don't know if it's super helpful, but what I've been doing is I do the figure session thing for 1 minute or whatever, and then I finish the session, and then I start fleshing out the characters as I want them. So because you've got a rough thing already on the page, it's kind of interesting you get to exercise your imagination as well as your just copying skills, so you don't end up, because I think if you're just copying, that's not really the best way to learn anything. Even if you're copying from other artists, it's not just copying. You should really try and think a lot about what they're doing and why did they do that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, it's really important to figure out how to study the books. It's not just about copying. When it's for me, it was Andrew Loomis, and I think one of the most helpful things about the book was it took you through the stages from basic bone structure to muscles, but I don't move ahead until I fully I can do whatever is on that page by memory, and then I can move ahead.
I think if I had done it that way, that would have been much better.
Yeah, so even if it was a simple skeleton structure like this, this is literally what's in the book, something like this, and learning about the proportions and just how things line up, just as a way of system for memory, and being able to memorize those individual divisions. He has 8 head tall people, 7 head tall, all the way to babies, and then you got to do it until you memorize it. Test yourself. I'll do it over and over and over, and then I'll see where do the ribs line up, where does that line up, and then that would be the front view, and I'd do the side view, and then do the back view. And it's really slow. It's a really slow process, but yeah, I take it in stages. That was my process of learning from books and studying.
It's a good process.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Any advice when it's difficult to meet the standards in art school because subjects are mixed between traditional, digital, graphic design?
Well, I think Jet, you went to art school here.
Yeah.
Bob and I went to animation school. I don't know if that's quite the same
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know if we studied graphic design. I don't think so.
No, we did not.
No. So I guess you have to answer this one, Jeff.
Yeah.
What was the question? What was the question again? Sorry.
What advice do you have when it's difficult to meet standards in art school because subjects are mixed, like they have traditional, digital, graphic design?
Ah. So what do you do when you have to meet the standards? Okay, so first of all, I guess the question is, what are you trying to specialize in? But if you're just trying to take a course like graphic design and you want to be an illustrator, and you're taking a graphic design just to understand the concept of it, I think it is important definitely to learn the skill, but it's more important to just hone in on your what am I trying to say? Your field of focus, and not worry too much about it in the departments that you don't really want to do in the future. So like where am I going with this? So what was the question again? Sorry. How do you manage
the standards?
Okay, I think the standards, right? Okay, I was gonna say, so I'm drawing and thinking. So like standards are really important because they're there for you to it's a bar to meet. For me, it was not so much teaching at our school. It was like, here's the examples from like previous students, previous seniors, the A students, and they'll set the standard and the bar, and it was up to me basically to figure out pretty much how am I going to meet that standard, and you really just got to utilize all the resources you can and put in the work to try to meet it. But if the class is not pertaining to your kind of future, then you shouldn't put too much stress on it. Like, I'm not a graphic designer, and I don't want to be a graphic designer, so if I were in school, and that's another problem, why take the graphic design class? Why not just hone in on the things that you want to study and learn, instead of having to deal with all these extra things? So, I hope that was really
There
witty.
was a question. Do Bob and Sycra have any tips for somebody going into an animation course? Can't get out of it.
An animation course.
I think one thing that I wish I had done is just got some rudimentary animation software like plastic animation paper, which is free, and try and animate on your own before coming to school. Like, that's one of the most underrated things, and that goes back to the digital thing, which is just play around with stuff before you get instruction. I saw people who they weren't really great at animation, but the ones who had some experience animating, and they just picked it up much easier than people who were starting from scratch. I think
I think that makes a lot of sense. Just figuring it out on your own really adds to, because like when you first start doing animation, it's just like for me anyways, I'm just trying to follow the instructions, and I'm not necessarily taking in all the information as best as I could. So when you already have some practice, and if you figure it even a little bit by yourself, then that frees up space for you to just learn, okay, what is it that I'm trying to learn in terms of the physics, in terms of the energy, in terms of the drawing, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's also some weird thing that I noticed, which is a lot of people who didn't go to animation school but do animations. Usually, one of the things is like, because Cynics, you do that. Right? You didn't go to animation school, and
I mess around with it.
One of the things I noticed is, first of all, most of them seem to do straight ahead animation, which is fine. But second of all, they seem better. Like, that's what I'm seeing, because in animation school you get so caught up in technical things that you sort of forget how to have fun sometimes and just really be free with it. But at the same time, I can understand why it's taught that way. For instance, we learned everything on X sheets and in a very methodical way. But the reason is you might be given a scene to animate, and it's like, okay, this character has to, at 13 seconds, he needs to move from the left of the screen to the right, and it needs to take him 3 seconds to get there, and then he needs to say, hey, how are you doing, or something. And that's all timed, and so at each specific frame, you need to hit a certain point. And that's why, yeah, I mean, it would be pretty hard to do lip sync to just straight ahead animation. But for most of it, like just animating freely and having a character that moves and has life, I see a lot of people who didn't go to animation school and just sort of figured it out on their own, doing really good stuff.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. What's the biggest point to learn if you want to change your style from drawing to painting? I don't know if that's a style.
Values, maybe?
Yeah.
I would say values.
Probably values.
It's the easiest way to, because you can go from drawing and then monochrome values to like black and white values, and then you go into monochrome, which isn't hard, and then, I mean, it's not so hard, and then you can move into color, and it's like, oh, you're painting.
I think a really, really nice skill to practice or learn is cross-hatching. Cross-hatching was really important for me in order to understand how to paint. I think it was one of the most important things, actually, because, well, for form anyway, like to being able to render things in a 3D shape is you gotta be able to feel flat objects in 3D space. So what cross-hatching does is basically drawing a bunch of seam lines or grids on top of a flat object by trying to paint value using lines, and you're always constantly thinking about the forms and structures. Can they see my screen while I talk?
Yeah, we're looking at your
Okay,
screen.
so yeah. Cool. So like, I mean, basic things like this. This is a hatch. I mean, if you want another value, you just go over it again. But understanding how everything wraps around an object, and that's all line. It's all drawing. I think once you can do that, you'll have the understanding for how do you lay paint down in a way where it'll read as a 3D object.
That's a good
cross-hatching. Definitely cross-hatching.
It's you're really thinking about the planes though, because someone could just cross-hatch and not really consider the form, and then it's like that could really flatten things out. So.
Yeah, and if that's your style, that's a style, but it's really important. Cross-hatching is all about form. The way I use it, anyway.
Rasputin says, "Is 50 Shades of Grey a good book to learn values?" No, it's immoral.
How difficult is the transition from traditional to digital artwork in terms of skills and cost?
I wouldn't say much.
Not much at all.
Yeah.
Oh, cost. You can get simple, cheap equipment. Not too expensive at all nowadays. I'm pretty sure, like, you can even go on like Craigslist and get some used stuff for, like, top of the line stuff. I was paying like top dollar for 5 years ago. It's probably like what, $50-$60 now. And you just gotta, if you understand traditional painting, it should translate easily. It's just a learning curve. You just need to learn, like, okay, what's the pen tool? What's a brush tool?
Yeah.
I think if you're like,
cheap acrylics and at least teach yourself how to mix paints properly.
Yeah, if you're using oil paint, it can be pretty expensive after a while, but there are cheaper alternatives traditionally and digitally as well.
Yeah. I think for digital, it's like one-time investment, and then you just.
Yeah, and people they get so caught up on tools now, because when I was starting out, everyone was doing speed paintings on their calculators.
What?
Never mind, I couldn't.
Couldn't do it. How can I make my art more appealing to look at? Dun, dun, dun.
Draw
That's a big
bananas.
question. Oh, bananas!
Bananas.
I think appealing, it's really comes down to just understanding like the overall science of drawing altogether, composition, structure, anatomy, color theory.
It
Perspective.
depends on what standard of appeal they're going for. Are they like if they're saying it's like okay if they say they want to be more appealing in terms of they see some other artists and they think they're really appealing and they want to be more like that, then all they have to do is just sort of figure out what that artist is doing, do copies, traces, and then experiment on their own, and then they could gain more technical appeal. If they're talking about personal appeal, that's something that they have to figure out for themselves and what they like. And it's just, I think for that part, you discover on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Sycra, I have a terrible time trying to get my work to satisfy my concept. I have this amazing animated drawing in my head, but by the time I get the stylus in my hand, it bombs.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I can kind of add something to that.
All right.
All right, here we go. I'm about to do it.
Oh
Ready
boy.
for it? Right. I think for that question, I always ask myself, like, is it good enough to move forward? I mean, it goes back to that how I study, art. It goes how I create art. Shit, I guess I'll show you guys Diva. You want to see Diva? Should I show them Diva?
If you feel comfortable with it,
I'll show them Diva. All right, I'll show it a Diva.
prepare your eyeballs.
One of my finished ones today. It's like 95%. Gotta put in post processing, but I was gonna say like, it's not perfect, but I feel like it's captured the things that I feel like are working. So like, for a drawing like this, every stage I had to be satisfied with before I moved forward. So like, I wasn't able to get into this kind of loose inking. It's not inking. It's just cleanup. Until I was satisfied with this butt here, because the original butt and boobs killed me for like 3 hours. 3 hours straight. I mean, I wouldn't move forward. So like, it starts from this small little sketch, and I'm not gonna move forward until I like this sketch. And then the next one would be the rough over. And I wasn't gonna move into the next stage until I was happy with this. I was done with like most of the face, the hair, the gun, everything. These legs that was just killing me, and I was not gonna move forward at all until I was happy with it. And I think that's just a matter of standards. Like, you're not gonna put the stamp of approval until you're happy with it. So that's just the process of how I know it related to the question somehow.
I suppose one of the question was that they had trouble getting the drawing down because by the time they get their stylus ready, the picture in their head was gone, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, okay, there. Yeah. So I'm saying, like, if you have that idea, whatever it was, try to jot it down with like a simple like shape. Like, was that it? Was this it? Was that it? And then you move into the next stage and you try to block it out, and you kind of just slowly like clear up a misty image in your mind and discover it that way, because I mean that's what these all are. I don't have a clear image of any of this stuff until I begin drawing.
One thing I can also suggest is that instead of just like getting the drawing ready in the digital, you could just do it traditionally, because like it's pretty quick. Just pick up a piece of paper, get your pen or pencil ready, and just draw out what you can remember. And that's pretty quick, and you can always transfer that image into digital later on.
Oh, and that's actually gonna remind me of a really really useful technique that I just employed for this series. I had originally 20 different drawings that I wanted to do, but yeah, 4 days left. I don't think that's even possible. But write it down. You can always write down your ideas. You don't even have to draw. You just write down. So before I started these, I wrote down simple words like action, or sexy, or fun, or quirky. She had a funny one, so she had a couple funny poses, and I would use those ideas just based off of these adjectives, or not adjectives, but ideas. You jot down what you saw, just using
Okay.
words.
Hey,
How
Bobby,
do you
got
get?
any,
Sorry.
you got any ideas for what I can turn this into? I'm trying to get away from jars.
Oh,
Escape.
you could do barrels next.
Oh,
Barrels full of
God.
jars. You asked for this,
Barrel.
Cynics. You asked for this. Remember that.
I know. You must see something here.
I mean, if you're bored, we could always go with CP, but I don't know. That's inappropriate.
No.
All right, next
You
question.
don't see anything here? Nothing happening?
I see the guy. I see what you've already drawn, like the guy, and he looks like he's drinking out of a, I don't know, like a big.
I have no
barrel.
idea what you're talking about because I haven't drawn.
Okay, so there's like a green face that used to be the bottle. The bottle upside down. It looks like a green face, and he looks like he's taking a sip out of that barrel.
Oh.
Oh,
I think
that would be
I know
fun.
what you're talking about.
You could draw. What you can do is you can keep the shape of the bottle, so that he's
Saying,
just
like,
a.
this is a guy here, and he's
Yeah, and he's drinking from the brown. Maybe it's like a coconut, or I guess it's a barrel, but whatever that is.
Mhm.
You can make it so that he's drinking from the barrel, but as he's drinking, the water's pouring out of him because he's a bottle himself. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is okay. I think I
Do we have
understand.
more questions?
Yeah. Cynics
Oh,
is getting
wait, no, I
trolled
wanna
so
ask-
hard right now. He could be working in Dell.
I was gonna answer the other question the person had about trying to make their work look more interesting, appealing.
Uh-huh.
Appealing. People need to get good at graphic design. That's
Yes.
the number one way.
I
So
was gonna do.
anytime
yeah.
you're drawing, just throw in letters and stuff. No, okay, not that. But throw in just like random letters and do them interesting. Try to just bring in random stuff everywhere.
He did it for you, Bob.
But
Oh,
the thing
shit.
is, like, try to just. It doesn't have to be letters, but just like get used to like bringing in more graphical elements to your
There
art.
you go.
Bring in random, nonsense and stars and
Flat shape.
Yes, this is a.
make it more graphical. Try to bring in more elements of it's fun. Just be loose with it.
Explain what entails graphic.
Gosh,
what
it's
is
more
graphic?
like getting away from the form and function and focusing purely on tangents and visual, like getting away from the whole form, like 3D form of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and just being like, okay, there's maybe there's letters and they're coming toward us, and they're coming like just in random directions or whatever. But it's like just ignoring the form stuff.
Basically, you're focusing a lot more on shapes, right? And the dynamics.
Shapes, tangents, the way things interact with each other, colors, tangents,
Yeah.
everything
So
like that.
So does
Okay.
Yeah.
Just find your
nice.
inner tangent.
Your
I
inner
got rid of
tangent.
the guy.
How do you get inspiration while working with deadlines?
Deadlines?
Yeah.
Oh, deadlines. It's like you're saying like deadlines, like your lines suck and they're just you're dead your life. How do you get inspiration when all your lines are dead? It's like, oh, deadlines.
That's like, how do you get inspiration when you have work? I mean,
Actually, I got a lot more inspiration when I was working because you have to work on someone else's idea, and then it just makes you really want to do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, they're saying that they're stuck within in terms of ideas and inspiration when it comes to deadlines, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it goes back again to just jotting down your ideas. You know, if you can't draw it, write it down. Like write down plant, rock, creature, pig, ostrich. I
Well,
mean,
slow down. Let me write that down.
oh
What's
yeah,
that?
man, get it down. Those are
Plant
good
rock,
ideas.
ostrich. Okay.
That's a free one.
That's a free one. I can take that.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's
Great.
tons and tons. It just starts out with one thing and you add things on it, and then you just try to do thumbnails. I mean, for me, it's all about process. It's all about process in creating. I don't have trouble what's the word? Coming up with ideas, because the process that I use is just write it down. You know, ideas are
No.
it's execution. Execution is the difficult part.
Okay.
Yes. Write it down. Get some ideas out. You write a story. Writing stories really help. Don't get stuck in the story.
All right.
Sycra, you said you didn't really have a passion for drawing when you were younger. I'm wondering how long it took for you to break through and finally enjoy the process.
I don't enjoy the process. Do you not watch my secret sketchbook video?
Oh no.
All this is a lie. I'm not so happy right now. I'm just crying inside. Outside is something, but inside is something else.
We have to draw more together, Sycra. You should.
Yeah.
So, next.
Yeah. I suck at composition and drawings. How would one improve that?
What's next? The graphic design thing. I think thinking of composition as like, okay, I'll just draw it easier. But
Tell him, Sycra. Tell him.
tell them. Okay.
Well, he's gonna tell him today.
Delete.
Tell him.
Go away. Okay.
Got to learn, boy.
If you think about these squares, and it's nice. These are all going to be frames, whatever. But you think within this shape, you know, what would look cool? Like, oh, how does that look? And then that could be a composition. I think starting out with abstract shapes isn't bad, because it gets your eye used to seeing divisions of things and negative space and positive space and whatever. Like, okay, what's that like? And just think of it more like not related to a thing necessarily. I mean, it can be. It could be a figure, but yeah, it goes down to like, what is this shape on the page? So maybe I'm drawing a face, right? And then, okay, so this is a face. But instead of just worrying about, you know, what's the eye like and stuff, think about what is this outside shape like. You know, you've got this shape of the head, and this guy's looking up, something like that. And then, so that's one shape, and you've got this other part. So this is the negative space. I'll put a minus on it, and this is the positive space, and so that's a plus. So just think about like shapes. You know, does that look good as a shape? Maybe if you had the head with this shape like off to the side, does that look better? And going through a lot of these things really quickly, exploring. You know, if I talked about this before with the iterative drawing, and you know, you had like a house and you've got elements and how do you compose them, but thinking about them not necessarily as this is a house, but rather this is a shape, and this dark area is one shape and the light area is another shape, and just breaking things down into very, you know, simple ideas and designs instead of complicated stuff. That's all I have to say on that.
Very good advice.
Yeah. How do you gain confidence in your drawing? I've been having a really hard time with poses and proportions, and it's been getting me really depressed to the point where I feel like I can't do it at all.
Well, Cynics is the expert on confidence.
Yeah.
So how do you become?
I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna like beat yourself up and say I don't believe in the process, I don't know how to make you believe in the process, but it's just a logical thing. You have to break it down logically. Like
hmm
if you're incapable of accepting that, kind of like just working on stuff is making me better, then you have to break down the logic in that. Like, how can it not be making me better? Shouldn't this be making me better? You have to whatever logic you need to do to figure it out, but you need to believe that the more you draw and the better, or the more often you draw different things, that it's going to make you better at those different things. No matter what, I mean, you got to break it down also. Like you're saying, oh, I don't feel like I'm getting better. Well, it's logically, it's probably just that your brain is growing faster than your hand-eye coordination. So, which is the most common thing. So you need to accept that, okay, maybe I'm just getting more knowledgeable about art, before my hand-eye coordination is growing. So
Yeah,
everything looks like it's not improving, but it is.
I'll
Yeah.
add something to that.
Yeah, sure.
Because Costa was ready to throw away his Wacom pad one day. It's like last year. He's like, Jep, I give up. I'm done. I'm done with drawing. He was fed up with that, and I sat him down and we talked about it. And basically, what we came down to was starting from scratch, starting with something that you can do. Maybe you're not ready at that stage, so I always figure out maybe you need to pull it back, simplify things, and because whatever stage you're doing, like right now I'm inking, I'm comfortable with it, so I'm confident with it because I feel like I know it. Like, how can you be happy with the muscle structure of the character if you don't understand the skeleton or composition or foreshortening? So I always, again, it goes back to the process and the stages that you're at. Maybe you're not ready for that stage, so pull it back to something more simple. I pulled it all the way back to circles and back again to cross hatching with Costa. We were talking about his understanding of form. It looked like everything was flat, and I just told him to do this, and lo and behold, he couldn't do this. He couldn't understand why my brain does that. His looked more like this. He's like it's like he'll do like something strange, and until he could do what I did here, I'm not gonna move him forward. And I had him do this and figure out center points and just literally circles, and we just took it up from there. But he was
Yeah.
happy again.
Yeah.
Up from there.
Okay, so I'm 25 and I feel like I need to make more finished pieces, but I know I need more practice. Should I make finished art and practice at the same time or separate the two?
I think both is good.
Still both.
Both.
Never been it. I
Both
often,
at the same time.
I think we all have trouble taking that advice, or at least some of us do. Like we know, but like when you actually do it and make yourself do something finished, which is hard to do because sometimes it's a lot easier to say, oh, let's practice stuff. When you actually do it, you think, okay, I learned the most when I actually tried to complete something more ambitious.
Actually, yes. That's
Even though it's hard, it's hard to get yourself to that point because it's a lot easier to just take the cowbell and be like, ah, okay, I'll just practice things. I'll just practice things. But the best way to get better and the best way to practice is actually to push yourself into something more ambitious.
Yeah.
Applying that knowledge or whatever you have in the field, if you will.
Yeah. I have real trouble with symmetry. I know the human face isn't typically perfectly symmetrical, but my faces always look malformed. Any tips on practicing symmetry?
I would recommend you use a mirror to check your bias. Usually what happens is we all have sort of a left or right bias and things are skewed. And then just correct it. And over time you will get that improved because it's just work. It's not like, I don't know, some kind of magic thing really. Flipping your canvases helps, but other than that, you will get it over time if you just keep drawing.
Yeah. And I think this sort of ties into what some other people were saying before in the previous questions, like they were getting depressed because of their drawings and they weren't motivated and stuff. It's like it's just a drawing. Your life and career is not hinging on this drawing. It's hinging on you failing at this drawing and getting the next one better.
Mm-hmm.
Think of them as throwaways, and you can get more confident. Do not put so much of your expectations and hopes into your drawings.
That's very good advice.
As we say 1,000 times, what's your best piece of art? The next one. You haven't made you never are working on your masterpiece right now. Some work you've made is not your masterpiece. The next one will always be better.
Damn.
You need to get in that mindset and stop getting attached to stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose just accepting that something's not going to work out in the beginning is a good way to go about it. Because once when you accept that you're not going to achieve everything you want, then it's like everything's just sort of like, okay, I just got to get this over with.
How do you increase your drawing stamina?
I guess you just keep doing it.
Yeah, you just have to do it.
I don't want to be a doctor or anything because I'm not, but I think that's innate. Some people can just go forever because they're like I looked up this thing called attention hyperfocus disorder. Hyperfocus. So hyperfocused can be anybody who can't stop playing video games. It's the same feeling. I mean, I'm in the process of producing, and I just everything's a stimulant. So I can't stop, and I think that's where the stamina comes from.
Obviously, Bob has the same problem because he can't stop playing video games even when his arm is breaking in half.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I can relate to that. Like when I used to play video games, it's like I would just play until my eyes were, burning and bleeding and just horrible. And it's like, okay, maybe I'll no, I'm just gonna play for like another 30 minutes.
Oh yes. So, right when I was playing StarCraft, I'd play 10 hours straight and be like, maybe one more hour, and then it'd be the next day. The next day,
I don't need to eat today. I don't have time to eat. I'm just gonna start. That's fine. The hunger goes away. Eventually, if you starve long enough, the hunger goes away. That's what I learned.
Which is bad. You gotta take breaks, like Sycra said. You just got.
Or you'll end up like me.
Oh. If you look under most buses, you'll find Costa and Bob.
Why?
Because he got thrown under the bus.
What's the longest you've gone without drawing? I haven't really drawn in 7 months, and I'm recently trying to get back to where I was before.
Oh, I've gone a lot longer than that.
Really? What's the longest you've gone without drawing?
I don't know, probably like a year. And this is like after being a professional. I've gone like a year without drawing.
Oh man, it's gonna be exciting for me when I get to draw again. Gonna find out what it's like to not draw for a while.
It's fine. You'll be better. You'll be better when you come back than you were.
Actually, yes, you will be better.
You'll keep improving without drawing.
Oh,
that's how the world works.
That is so convenient.
I know.
You know what? I'm gonna stop drawing for like 30 years. I'm gonna come back and it'll be amazing.
Well, I stopped drawing for a year and I came back and was better at it. So.
I'm gonna be like, worship me like you would do Kim Jong-il. That's what I'm gonna be.
It could work.
Just 30 years of not drawing. Just gonna give me that. Yeah.
Well, I think you gotta go 30 years without stopping first. I think that's where it comes from. Like, I think for me, it was during school. Every summer, I wouldn't touch the pencil. I didn't draw. I never drew. I didn't draw at all. So like 6, 7 months straight. Sometimes.
Wow.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Professionally, it's been on break.
It's a question? Or?
No, just Jet's.
7 months?
Yeah, to imagine Jet not drawing.
Oh yeah, that's not anymore. That's only been since like 2011, 12. And then since then, it's just been nonstop because of freelancing, commission work and stuff like that.
All right, so I'm trying to learn color by using reference, but my tablet is too small to show reference and draw at the same time. What do you suggest?
Huh?
Why are what like?
What, on your tablet you have reference?
Yeah, why do you
How
need
does
to
that
have
make
the
sense?
reference on your tablet?
Wouldn't you have it on your screen?
No, maybe they have like a small Cintiq or something.
Oh, like maybe an iPad tablet,
Yeah.
like that type of tablet.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a Wacom tablet.
Maybe it just tapes little like drawings to the tablet and traces over them.
Well, maybe you could print them or
Or maybe you can
draw in the sketchbook and
Art
have
book
it-
or something.
or use life
Yeah.
as reference.
That's
You don't
too
have
weird. You wouldn't use life as
to.
reference.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I just got a job as a concept artist, and I'm having trouble diversifying ideas. They keep coming out looking the same. Do you have any advice?
The easiest way for me to come up with a new idea is to do the exact opposite of what I did for the first idea. Like use completely opposite shapes, shape language, not shape language, probably the same shape language, but this opposite form, and then you have two ends of a spectrum. And once I've got those two, I don't know, somehow it's easier to imagine all the in-between versions. The other way is to just use reference, because I find
Referencing.
let's say you just used an animal, you're designing a tank, and you search up some kind of animal, like a turtle is a basic idea, but you could go even obscure and just find, I don't know, a chicken or something. It's like I'm going to take ideas from a chicken and put it in a tank, and you'll probably end up with interesting designs.
Oh my
Just
God.
'cause
Is
it's-
this idea taken, or can I steal this one too?
Uh-oh.
Chicken tank?
There's another swooping in.
I'm swooping in.
Actually, I was thinking about this today, I think, or yesterday. Animal people, right? I was saying like, what if there was, okay, like I was like, okay,
Like
no,
furries?
wait a second.
What if there were
Wait a
animals?
second.
People, and
No,
you got
no.
sex with them?
What I was saying was, what if I was saying, okay, because I was looking at the shrimp. No, what's today? I was eating soup with shrimp, and like, I was looking at the shrimp. I was like, man, this is such a freaking alien-looking ass creature. This is so crazy. Look at the structures. It has like a spear on top of his head and everything. And I was just saying, like, what if every single species on this planet, because there are different types of shrimp. There's krill and prawns and crawdads look like shrimp, but
Mind right now.
I mean, there's different types, right? So there's different races of humans. So I was saying, what if like these are all aliens from another planet who?
What if they all had their own planet, and every
Yes.
animal, like there was a giraffe, but giraffes aren't from Earth, they're from Giraffe Planet. And, like, elephants are from Elephant Planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Races
No.
are from different planets.
Thank you. No, but I was gonna say, okay, with that, those animals are actually like intelligent, like human, like freaking alien species. They're just really like Protoss. Think about Protoss, right? What does he look like?
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know what I mean? So like, imagine every animal. Like you can try to, if you were to anthropomorphize them. I'm not talking about furries. I'm talking about like if they had years and years of evolution, like apes did, if you turn into us, what would they look like? Like how would these creatures look like? And that's
You
just
mean if you evolve things further?
mhm,
You
like
know
you know,
what they look like us.
well, simply put, like a reptilian, reptilian versus an ape. No, not
There is a planet where all this happened. It's called Earth.
Yes,
No,
yes, yes.
you're saying that all animals' end goal is to look like us. Cynics? I don't know.
Well, apparently, according to nature so far.
Nah, they're doing good and surviving. Some animals are good the way they
We
are.
have to
Like,
base it on their climate. If the climate is this climate, apparently we're the ones that survive.
oh,
If the climate was different, we might look different.
Okay, like how about this? Cockroaches and then District 9, right? They look like cockroach aliens.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like imagine, it's just imagining things like that, like what we have, and then just like spin off from there, and it just goes on forever. You can play with it so much. I mean, how many animals are there? How many animals
least-
do people see?
At
At
least 10 or
least-
12.
At least 40. I think 40, 41.
Let me see. I have 10 fingers. At least 9 of them.
I can name at least like a dozen animals off the top of my head right now.
And that's just using like one idea, mode of thinking. It's like animals, like mixing elements with them, like rocks and crystals and then metallic, and then you put in time frame, what time frame, how, you know what I mean, and clean technology or grungy looking Victorian stuff, you know.
Hey, Cynic,
Write
is
it-
your
write it
character
down.
having diarrhea underwater?
Possibly. Is that what you want?
Because that would be pretty funny if he did, because it's coming
Well,
out of his
you're
mouth.
supposed to be guiding me, but you haven't been
or is
talking
he?
much.
Oh, or is he inhaling the diarrhea? Because that would be interesting too.
Well, okay, you're the brain. Why don't you tell me? I'm just the hands here.
All right, he's underwater, and I guess we can go with him expelling diarrhea from the mouth.
Okay. Should I make his mouth giant or should I shrink it down?
Keep it the way it is.
Okay, I'm gonna drop some
Oh,
extra
boy.
food in here.
It's not me
Hungry.
drawing anime creations, it's Cynic's. This isn't me, I can't draw this well, or paint. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, how many of you guys copy or even traced at a young age? How much did that help?
I copied. I didn't really trace very often. I don't think I did when I was younger.
I traced because my dad had tracing paper.
Yeah, and you're
And that's
tracing
why you're
right
drawing
now.
Tracer.
Yeah, you're tracing right
I'm tracing tracer. Oh shoot! This is like Inception. Yeah, I did it and I felt bad. I was like, this isn't right.
Really?
It's
I wasn't
not
even
helpful.
into art, but I remember I've like found my dad's tracing. My dad's an engineer, so I guess all these engineer people have tracing paper around.
Yeah,
I
my
found some
dad has
tracing paper, and I remember tracing all the Mega Man bosses out of my Nintendo Power.
Mega Man, man, that's my start.
Like
Mega
I
Man
saw
is
that
the
Nintendo Power, I just took out that tracing paper and started tracing all those.
Okay, I guess you feel bad when you show someone and you go, "This is mine. I did this."
I invented this.
That's
Cynic,
when you get
start,
guilty.
start adding bits of corn and chunks into the.
Oh god. Come on,
Sure, why
man.
not?
Oh, I see it now. I finally
What's the
see it.
next
That's like so
Well, you
like.
haven't answered it though. If you traced,
No, I never did.
and how did that help?
It didn't.
I never did.
Probably should have.
It didn't help that you didn't do it,
No, it didn't at all.
and it wouldn't
we
help
should-
if you did.
No, I think it might have, but I just didn't. I don't know.
I did it probably
Oh my
twice,
goodness.
and I was not like, yeah, I was like, whatever.
I was really a tracist when I was young.
Ooh,
Okay,
you
so
was a tracist.
do you most prefer starting with grayscale and values and then overlay to color, or do you just start with plain color?
Oh, I think it's obvious what Cynic does.
Yeah, so
I hate great. I can never make anything look good if I do grayscale first. I've tried
For-
it on several occasions and never looks as good.
I've got it to work. I think once I like figured it out for work, because I had like a lot of characters to do, so I needed a system. So I saw the potential in it, and I said, if I can make this work, it'll streamline everything, and it did. It worked. But I can go back the other way too. Using flats and then multiplying shadows, and then color dodge to pull out lights. That's the opposite way of working. Either way works fine. There's any way you want to work. Any way you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the best way to learn anatomy and proportion and understanding the 3D form? That's pretty.
Oh yeah. We kind of covered all that, didn't we? Yeah. Cross-hatching for form for me, and then Andrew Loomis for anatomy.
All right, Cynic, add some jars in there.
What is going on? with
Have some of the expelled matter float into some of the jars.
What? You want him to be collecting it with jars or something?
No, like the jars are floating around, but some of the stuff
Oh.
that's coming out of his mouth is just floating into the jars.
Oh, okay. We need like fish or something though, so we know it's.
Maybe have some of the fish try to take refuge in the jars, thinking it'll protect them, but it won't.
Okay. Sure.
Where are the jars? I don't see jars.
No, we haven't had them. Don't worry about it, man.
Oh,
Jars are
sorry.
coming.
Jeez, okay. Right.
How do you deal with creating art you don't want to or have been forced to create as an assignment?
Ooh.
I don't know. If you become a professional, that's your job. That's your life.
Oh yeah, you gotta start somewhere. So I have a lot of experience with that, and I took whatever I could get. Whatever I could get. You can pick and choose, and you gotta find the happy things, the little things that you enjoy. Like if you don't like the subject matter, maybe it's the rendering. You know, maybe it's the
I enjoy
process.
little things a lot, and the smallest thing I can find is nothing, and that's what I enjoy. Nothing.
Oh no.
You bastard. Oh.
I feel like I'm drawing how the universe was created.
Yeah, I felt that too. I saw like a nebula.
No, you can go with that if you want. Go crazy, Synox.
No, I want to follow your dreams.
Oh. Dream of jars.
Freedom.
When
Arts
is the
everywhere.
right time to share your art?
Oh.
What's that?
When is the right time to share your art?
It's always the right.
Now. Today.
Right now. Bring it out.
Unless it's you got a NDA on there.
Yeah, then it's whenever the NDA's done. Do not accept this as legal advice.
Yeah, I really believe in that. I believe in that. You go back to my old work in DeviantArt, they're garbage, man. Like, but it's there as a record. It's like it's testament to during that time. I know when I posted them, I was happy with them. But like looking back now, I'm just like, whoa, I can't believe I did that. And it shows like, man, like you really can improve a lot. And some really good artists out there, like even for one of the designers for Overwatch, you look at his old work. What is the name? It's not what it is today. So anyone can improve. Anyone.
Yeah, you hear that, Matt? Matt in the chat right now.
Yeah, I don't put it
I'm
past
talking to you.
anyone.
You don't think I know you? I know you, Matt.
Matt.
This is Matt. He's right there. He's listening right now. His name's Matt.
Okay, not Matt.
Who is Matt?
Matt. None of us know him.
It's from the
He
Matty
thinks-
Matt
he
show.
thinks we're talking about someone else, but we're actually talking about him.
Matt
The
show.
whole world and universe were created just for you for this moment. Become a great artist, Matt.
Matt, it's for you, buddy.
It's all for you.
We're rooting for you. You know you
I'm
can
not
do
supposed
it.
to tell you, but guess what? This whole universe is in your head. Matt.
Oh, dude, you're not supposed to let him know.
Sorry, Matt.
Dude. Dude. Universe is watching you, Matt.
Sorry, Matt.
Matt.
Oh,
man,
Next
this
question.
perspective.
I'm not good at painting jars. I want to get better at painting jars.
Better get them jars down, man.
What advice
Life
do you
is
have,
awesome.
Bob Meatbag, for painting jars better?
I draw jars. I don't paint them.
Oh, you've never painted a jar?
Nope.
Oh.
And I can't right now either. So
I mean,
You're
generally,
not
I would just say the way to paint is usually just to show the outside edge with some white, right?
Oh.
That's what I've been doing, but I don't think it's working that great.
Oh. Maybe you need to cause more distortions within the jar.
Yeah. A little tricky. I can try it.
I don't see a jar. What the hell is going on?
What's
How to make up your own style?
How to make up your own style?
Damn. You have a whole video on that one.
Do you think AAA games have poor art direction? It depends.
It's Mighty Number 9 a AAA game? That thing looks like ass.
I like the guy. The game sucks. I mean, I heard.
No, the game. He didn't design shit. Let me lay it down to you. He was involved in the Kickstarter, and then he handed it off to some American company, and they made it look like shit.
Really? Is that what happened?
It is basically what happens. Yes.
Oh, so that's what happened. Well, I
Well,
think he's an asshole.
Taking the light off. Look behind the curtain.
I used to be like, dude, this is the guy. He's gonna revolutionize the gaming industry. He's gonna be like, he's like an artist who's like gonna do it right. You know, we all believe in him.
He took his paycheck and went on to make 10 other Kickstarters.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly what happened.
My fans are dumb.
So now, lost faith. And then his last comment. Anyways, moving on.
Okay, so what do you do in animation school? What do you do, and how are you tested? Oh,
Depends what animation school you go to, I guess. Bob and I went to one that was a 1-year program, so it was just a lot all at once. Like, what do? You do pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have like film theory and acting and
You say
history of
acting?
animation. Yeah, you have acting class.
Can you show me some of your acting?
Bob and I actually did a lot of the play thing, the skits or whatever they're called together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
That was our first collabs, was in acting.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, you learn, like, I guess, walk cycles, bouncing beans, bouncing balls and bean shapes. And, that doesn't matter. It can be beans as well, and jumping frogs, and just head rotation, walk. Oh, I already said walk cycle, and like 4-legged walk. So you do 2-legged walks and 4-legged walks, and you do a weightlifter who's lifting weights, so you can learn about weight.
There's also one where they do the cartoon take.
Yeah.
They get surprised and they scream or something.
And then for us, we also did 2 films, one in Flash and one classically drawn film.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I think in any animation school, you can expect to animate a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys think makes a good story?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Growth. I think growth.
Ropes?
Growth. Progress. Seeing
Ropes.
progress in someone. Dealing with
Growth. Oh, growth.
Or gross?
Oh, okay.
No, you're growth. Growth. Like I'm growing up. Like I'm learning things and getting better. Improvements. I don't like to see something where it's just staying still all the time. Just like frustrating.
Yeah, I'm adding stars.
What do you think? What do you think is important storytelling?
Fan service.
I think honesty is the most important thing when something's genuine, even if you distort it into fiction. If it's
Are we
coming from-
answering truthfully? Because yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You want to know how to be the best storyteller? Vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Moment of
That's
silence for
real
that.
Do you know who are the best storytellers? Okay, never mind. I'll tell you later after this is over.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
I want to hear now.
Do you listen to music when you animate, or do you suggest working in silence?
Whatever
Should we
works
talk
for you.
in silence?
Music is great. I love
I
music. It
suggest
helps
turning on
relax
the
away.
lovely YouTube videos of Cynic's design and listening to this.
Yeah, watching stuff is distracting. Podcasts are
What's the next?
distracting.
What? The next
Listen to
question.
podcasts.
What low-budget drawing tablet do you recommend?
Woo, that's the best question I ever heard all day.
You have yours is which one is it? The
Pablo
Pablo
Coast.
Coast. That one's nice, but that's not a tablet. It's like a Cintiq alternative.
Yeah, that's a Cintiq alternative, and it's about 700.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
not
not-
that cheap.
Oh.
I'd say go to Craigslist or eBay, man.
I would go on eBay if I was like I was in this situation, and I would find an Intuos 3 or maybe an Intuos 4. Because I don't like what's going on lately. It seems there's a lot of issues with
Yeah.
Wacom hardware, and the trusty old Intuos 3 seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah.
I have my 4 still. It's perfect. It's so good.
Like
It's so good.
It's running smooth.
I'm using right now my Cintiq 13-inch, and I made a switch back to my Wacom pad like after a year and a half, and I was better at it. It's weird. Using the Cintiq helped me improve on my Wacom pad. It's the weirdest thing.
Have you ever considered making video games? If so, what were your ideas?
Oh, can't tell you that one. Cynics is gonna take it.
I'm not gonna tell you, those are secret.
Oh no.
Trying to steal my ideas?
He already took my goose ostrich frog.
I know.
Any
You better
tips for
protect your
somebody
ideas.
that's
Not be spitting them out there.
okay? Any tips for somebody who is completely self-taught and has no idea how to continue?
Oh, that's not me. That's
Is that
you
for
guys.
me?
That's
Is that
Cynic.
me?
That's Cynic.
Give up now. You'll never be as good as me.
Unless you're Rafael Silvas.
Oh shit. Made his day.
I think when you ask these types of questions, it's really important to know, like, continue what? What's your goal? What's your purpose? Like, list it, write it down if you can.
What is your purpose in life?
Like, if you're completely self-taught, but where are you going with it? Where are you? And if you make a list and figure out, okay, what do I want from art?
Sansa. I have always loved you. Sansa.
Okay.
Don't mind my creepy voice. I just talk this way.
Spoilers!
What are the chances of Sycra making a video on squeezing forms, if any? I don't know. When I figure it out, I'll do it. Cynics probably already has one. Or Jet. Jet, do you have a squeezing forms one?
Oh, squishy forms? Oh, boy. No, I don't. I'm lagging. I'm lacking on my tutorials for the past year and a half. Been working a lot. Just streams. You do it, Sycra. Do it. Squishies.
I will once I figure it out. I don't have it yet. Like I've gotten better at it, but I don't feel like I understand it well enough to. Like what I do understand is how to do it with painting and values. What I don't understand is how to do it great with line.
Oh, that's cynics.
You know what I find helps me to learn something better? Sycra. Making a video about it.
I'm studying Slugbox, and he's like an artist, and he does a lot of squishy forms, and I don't know, like there's Japanese hentai artists seem to have that down.
Pretty good at it.
Just saying.
Squishy stuff. You know, I think it also has to do with the lighting too. Lighting and gravity and water droplets. And yes, squash and stretch, compression, animation.
Is it easier in general to get a job in illustration or concept art industry today? I don't think
Jet,
In the street today?
what do you think, Jet?
Difficult. I think I'm lucky. But I've been consistently lucky. Yeah. So like, the company that I'm working for, Armored Games, they picked me out of the blue. They said they saw my work on Newgrounds. Like, What the heck?
I didn't even know you posted your work on Newgrounds.
Yeah, I had some drawings on there, and yeah, the game's from Newgrounds, so it was like a a flash game, and they were on there, and they saw it, and somebody just picked me up and said, "Hey, you want to do concept art?" And I said yes.
Showing up.
But I was gonna say, we always talk about this. You gotta fake it until you make it, and I think if you want to be a concept artist, do concept art, but have a large collection of work that looks finished. Like if you like turtles, do like 100 turtles.
Black turtles.
Just a bunch of turtles, and make it look like you worked on a project with a bunch of different types of turtles. Not only fulfill your turtle urges, desires, but you'll also have complete work.
Okay. From the turtles.
I'm not
do you
into
think-
turtles, probably.
Do you think that people can become great artists without having to take classes and do a lot of life drawing?
Look at Cynics.
Yes.
It's fine, yeah, of course.
Cynics teaches classes.
And life drawing, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
On Silva, CT Chrysler, all self-taught.
CT Chrysler is amazing.
He's a good guy.
All right.
Yeah, actually.
Bob, what should I put in this thing? I need like something major. I need something.
I think you should turn that him coming out of his mouth into a tree and have like a bunch of people shoving, like holding onto the tree trunk and pushing it into his mouth.
Oh.
Like a bunch of miners from a coal mine, and they found a tree. I don't know.
You're a
How
creepy
to
guy.
motivate oneself when you're very tired.
How to be what now?
How to motivate yourself when you're very tired.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Shit.
how
What the heck? Sycra, what are you thinking about?
That was creepy. Creepy
I'm
laugh.
just thinking about my life.
Oh, God.
I'm so tired. I don't know how to motivate oneself.
I don't think it's so much about motivation. I think waiting for motivation is sort of counterproductive in the long run. Like, just do it. Just like, you have time on the toilet, as I have previously spoken about. It's like,
Yeah, but you
don't-
have to explain that. You can't just say you have time on the toilet.
Okay, so
Expect them to understand.
every day you go and you do things on your toilet. So you spend some time in your toilet. If there is no other time that you can sketch or work or draw, like you have that time when you're standing, like sitting down.
You want me to stand and draw while I'm peeing?
Dude,
Is that what you're saying? Is your advice?
Like when you're peeing, but while you're pooing, it's like.
No, he can sit and pee. You can sit and pee, man. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
See, Jet's on board.
Hey, that we started that up from college, man. It just helped keep the bathrooms cleaner longer. I mean, you can.
Okay.
But dude, standing up for guys, that's why our bathrooms stink like piss. It's all over the floor. It's all over the walls.
You've been holding this in for too long.
Something went in the pee.
No, not that. No, his. That's why bathrooms stink talk. It seems like it's coming from a place.
Yeah, deep dark place.
Like you've been holding this in for a while. You needed to get that out. Just go into a men's public toilet and just you're holding it in. You just want to explode it at room. This is why it stinks so much. You get in those stalls.
Here's my chance to speak out there, mentioning the toilet.
Hey, Cynics.
Yeah.
Try drawing some fetuses into the image coming out of the mouth.
God.
No.
Okay.
That should complete the piece.
That's what you get, Cynics. You shouldn't have done this.
I'm curious what made you think that it was going to be anything else.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try some ideas here. I'm gonna go all glowy fetus.
you know, the fetus from Metal Gear Solid. I mean, oh, let's say Dead Stranding, little baby from Hideo Kojima's new game.
Our stream is actually, we're pretty much out of time. It's been an hour and a half. So, should we do any last questions
Oh my
or
god.
Sure, we could do one more, I guess.
one more?
Yeah.
So, while you're looking for one, I should just remind everybody that these streams are made possible by patrons on Patreon, and they are held at the end of every month on Saturday at I guess 12 p.m. Pacific time-ish, probably like 12 p.m. Pacific, which is what 2 p.m. Eastern, and I think 8 p.m. GMT.
Yeah.
And 10 p.m. Romania time.
Romania time. Okay, so the last question. Would you recommend making a portfolio soon if I want to be a freelance artist? I sort of feel that there's no point in making a portfolio while I'm still not that good of an artist.
Oh. Portfolio should be, I think, the work that you love and cherish, the ones that you feel proud of. And that should be something you're constantly working on. So if it's personal stuff, make it good, and then it'll become a portfolio piece.
Yeah, I think you can go either way. There are some people who they just always post and always create a portfolio, and eventually they will build up a fan base, and then someone's going to see your work when it's like popular. You'll usually get contacted, and then the other way is to just come out of nowhere and be super good, and everyone's like, "Oh, where'd you come from?"
Yeah, let's clear that up a bit, because I feel like the way people look at portfolios, they look at it like the old school way of thinking. It's like you make a portfolio, then you ship it off to a company, and they respond back to you, and they say you're hired. I don't think that ever happened in the past, but that's what they used to do. Today, it's like if your work is out there, somebody will notice it, the company will notice it, and they'll like it and hire you. And they'll find what they need. There's so much work out there.
Yep. All right, and with that, I think that wraps up this stream. So I want to go ahead and thank my guests, Bob Meatbag. Do you want any quotes? Okay. Jet.
Thanks, Sycra, for having us.
Flavia.
Yay.
Sidix.
Hey.
And and most importantly, the people who are watching this for watching this, because you have to say that.
Thanks, everybody.
It's just rude to do that otherwise.
Keep up the good work, everyone. Don't give up.
Thanks. See you next month. Bye.
Bye.